What if we were to not be afraid of silence? What if we were to make friends with silence? I think a lot of times we shy away from being quiet with ourselves, being quiet in general. I think that so much of our society and culture fosters this idea that we should always be engaged. We should always be surrounded by noise, surrounded by visuals, surrounded by the engagement of our senses. We should be constantly engaged. Our senses should be constantly engaged. What if we were to not be afraid of silence? What if we were to make friends with silence? I think that this place, this time that we're in right now has given us a push toward being quiet with ourselves, having less information input. And who are we outside of that information input? Who are we when we are home by ourselves? Who are we outside of where we go and who we socialize with and how we entertain ourselves? Because we were not born with any of these things. We were not born with entertainment or even a desire or need to be entertained. We were not born with a need for noise all the time, a need for engagement of the senses all the time. We only had very few needs when we were born. And all the other things, all the other engagements of our senses came over time. All the other things that we've told ourselves that we need came over time. Those things were told to us by our parents or by adults or by society or by culture, by peers or by media. And they were not there with us when we were born. But yet we find ourselves perhaps even feeling scared or deprived or lacking in some way because we have not had fulfillment of these needs in quotations, because we learned to have these needs. So who are we if we don't need to constantly have sound and noise and things all around us? If we don't need to have social media telling us what to think and how to behave, what clothes we should wear, what styles and trends we should be following, what if we didn't have any of that? What if we didn't have social constructs to influence how we thought or how we lived? Who are we outside of the pressure of society and social media? I think that silence and solitude can be embraced and can be revered, can teach us things about ourselves, can give us a chance to find who we truly are. By turning down information input through screens, through constant occupation of the senses, we can begin to open our mind's eye, open our heart, open the voice within us. We can begin to unfold inwardly and discover things about ourselves that have been there all along, but that perhaps have been overlooked. Maybe it's something you've always wanted to do, but you've told yourself you're not qualified to do it. Maybe it's a dream that you've always had, but you've never given voice to. When we stop squandering our attention by constantly keeping our senses engaged, we can begin to introspect and give voice to the beauty that lives inside of us, the beauty that we were born with inside of us. We were all given gifts. We were all given a passion to manifest light. And I think that in the absence of all the noise and all the chaos that so much of society and culture constantly markets in our direction, we can actually find that needful, necessary voice that tells us who we are is not those things. And I think we can begin to discover ourselves in that silence. It's not something that needs to be pushed away. It's not something that needs to be uncomfortable. Something that is new to us is always uncomfortable at first, but when we learn to thrive and live within the silence, within being alone with ourselves and being contented with it, it's amazing what can happen from there. It's amazing what we can discover and begin to grow in from there, from that place of quiet, from that place of seeking. So may this be a time for you when, despite all the turbulence in the world right now and the heartache, may you find your own inner voice, and may it invite you, may you accept its invitation to seek. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, my friend. Namaste.